Hello, welcome back to Midweek Point and Click. We are onto a new game today. We are doing Lamplight City. It is I guess, a 1800s steampunkish murder mystery, choose your own adventure style adventure game. So the big thing with this is apparently you can finish the game without even solving the crime. It's yeah, heard really good things. Saiku, welcome in. Thank you so much for the sub. Good to see you. We got Steve in the house. How you doing, Steve?
How's it going?
I'm doing very well. Saiku, how's the volume? It's a little bit loud in my ears. I can adjust before we begin. Hope you like Steve's new little avatar. He's a little gumshoe. Yeah. So Steve, how's your week been? What'd you get up to? Anything exciting?
No, same old. The stream of Kingdom Come and got past a decent story point last night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, played a little bit of Backdrays on the Super Nintendo, doing a run through of that before the stream, just waiting for this stream to start. But yeah, what about you? Not much has happened for me. What about you?
What happened to me? Work as usual. Nothing too exciting there. Monster Hunter came out yesterday, which is pretty exciting. Lisa got a Pilates machine this morning from Aldi.
Okay.
They were always sold out last time, and she didn't get a chance, but this time it was there, and she came back with coffee, so I'm all caffeinated and ready to go. That's for certain. I'm excited about that. Yeah, but otherwise, same old, same old. I was going to make a joke and ask if you wanted to do the recap, but there is no recap.
No.
All right. Well, shall we just jump in and see what this game's about? Oh, let me tell you something, Steve. Do you remember in the last stream, for the previous game, we had to do that mini game with moving the key through the locker?
Yep.
And one of the things I was saying is it felt like my mouse kept on getting stuck. We actually solved the issue of what was going on. So whenever I screen share rather, sometimes the mouse gets sort of stuck in sludge for about an inch of movement before it starts get going. And it's really frustrating when you're trying to do stuff whenever you're sharing, right? Because it's just it just feels sticky. It ended up being, after heaps of troubleshooting, that my mouse needed to be plugged into a USB 3 port.
Okay, that was yeah.
Isn't that strange that a mouse needs USB 3 power?
Yeah.
Hardware these days.
Then that's the weird, I guess technology in some cases becomes worse, where the old-fashioned system, the mouse will be plugged straight into the interrupt request stuff for the CPU, and now it's through the serial bus, which means everything's queued up, and yeah, I'm surprised mouses work on USB at all.
Go back to PS2, you reckon?
Yeah.
IRQ conflicts, yeah, that sucks. What was speaking of conflicts and things, Steve and I used to play Duke Nukem 3D over the modem, like modem connection. And what were those things, Steve? It was modem strings and stuff we had to enter in order to be able to.
It's not like -AT, -ATX, something like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of parameters we both have to enter.
Yeah.
And they would both have to be both the same, but also we had to. Your dad gave us the initial string it should be, but we had to experiment a little bit with the settings to get it working. And then each time, because we're using the telephone line, so each time we do it, we'd have to hang up both, call, and then coordinate what modification we're going to make to both strings.
Yeah, exactly. There was no texting back in those days.
Yeah, and also you could we had the function buttons, the F1 through F10, bound to audio clips that play on the other person's computer, but in order to do that, we had to share the audio files because they had to be installed locally and wouldn't be transferred over the line. So we had to get copies of them and agree to have the same copy on both our machines, selected.
Yeah, so because it kind of would work, like if, let's just say you had a Star Trek one and I had a Simpsons one or something.
Yeah.
when I would do my Simpsons quotes, your Star Trek ones would play. So you would have to get the identical ones to let everyone know what you're doing.
Yeah, because there's like victory ones and stuff. But then we used the most of the time we used the Full Metal Jacket ones, which were just most of them. Most of them were the same. Basically, they're all insults.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's get cracking. Let's see what this game's about.
So basically, I knew 10 quotes from Full Metal Jacket before I even watched the film.
True. I watched an episode of Tales from the Crypt the other day that had the drill sergeant as one of the actors in it.
Yeah, I've seen him pop up in a Steven Seagal film. And he's fantastic in that. Like, it's not just the film's kind of average. It's the one where he's fighting against the oil refinery, basically.
Okay.
But I remember getting a laugh out of Dad where he's like, it's at the scene where there's the big showdown at the end, and the drill sergeant guy is like revving up his troops, revving up the troops that are going to fight Steven Seagal. And I think one of his lines is because like he's like trying to impress how serious he got to take this, and he goes, "He will drink a gallon of gasoline just to piss on your fire." Those are the lines that delivered by him was fantastic. And yeah,
I wonder if he's kind of typecast into that role. Hey, like you could never imagine him as a love interest in a TV show or something.
No.
All right, I can see that my camera is glitching occasionally. Hopefully, it's not a big problem. It's just like flickering every 10 seconds. Well, it hasn't done it. Maybe just there. D fucking G. How you doing? Welcome in. Hopefully, work is treating you all right. All right, let's go. Ooh.
I think for some reason, maybe it's because I watched it more as a kid, the drill sergeant from Stripes is usually the first one I think of.
Nice night for a walk.
Rough night?
Just staring at the guy the whole time.
Bollingworth Ale is all. That stuff really
Oh, they
creeps
know
up
each other.
on you.
Sorry I couldn't join you, but I was long overdue for a quiet night in with Addie.
That's fine. There'll be plenty of other opportunities. Hell, maybe Adelaide can even join us. It's been ages since she last drank me under the table.
Afraid she mostly sticks to tea these days.
Miles, what exactly is it we're looking into? I may have dozed off during the briefing.
You sleep through the briefings?
You sleep through the briefings?
Oh, I don't need to read it.
Sure, it's really not that difficult. Snelling's monotonous drone works better than Cold Tit's emulsified soporific.
Very funny. Anyway, it's a burglary at the Hambrook Flower Shop.
A burglary, eh?
Yeah.
How dull. At least we'll have enough time to get a drink afterwards.
You seem awfully certain of that.
I am. In fact, I'd bet the devil my head that we're done within the hour.
Oof.
Well, the devil's gonna be disappointed that his winnings are so meager.
Sick burn.
Ah, we've arrived. After you, Bill.
The city of New Britain. Borough of Cholmondeley.
That's gotta be made up.
Yeah, I reckon so. There's a bloody airship in the background.
So it's supposed
Thank you.
to be
Change.
gas powered lights, isn't it?
I think so.
So I can see the effect they're going for, but it looks a little bit like an electronic light
So, our
flickering.
night of excitement begins.
You more than anyone else should know that there's rarely a dull night in Chumley.
I have a feeling
Chumley?
tonight will be the exception. Until we get to the pub, that is.
Keep your mind on the case, Bill. Now let's get a move on.
Interesting. This guy looks really, really tiny.
Mm.
Trash can.
Fordham, what are you doing?
I was gonna check inside this trash can for clues.
Miles, in the 15 years we've been partners, how many times have you found something inside a trash can that wasn't garbage?
Fair point.
So we're not going to do it anyway? What's right click do? Oh, here we go. Honor among thieves. The Hambrook Flower Shop has been burglarized. Will the burglar return? Or is this investigation just a formality? Speak with the owner. Okay. Is there... There's no... I don't think there's a hold a key to highlight items. It's alright, though. Bill Liga.
Bill, could I have a word?
What's on your mind, Fordham?
Okay.
A burglary at a flower shop. Not the most thrilling case we've had, is it?
If I didn't know any better, I'd say Snelling's been giving us the boring cases lately on purpose.
Why would he do something like that?
He's eyeing a promotion to chief of police. He'd sell his own mother's cane if he thought it would help. Plus, there's no secret he doesn't like us.
I can't understand why. I've shown him nothing but respect.
It's because you're too good at what you do. And because you're friends with me.
What's that got to do with anything?
Not everyone is as open-minded as you, Miles. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's like British towns, how they are written like this, but they are pronounced like much differently. Like this being Chumley is a bit of a stretch.
You ever miss living out here, Bill?
About as much as you missed stepping in that pile of horseshit last week.
I was distracted by that story you were telling me about your sister.
Hello.
How's she doing out west, anyway?
Well, she's not in the chum, so fantastic. Living here was about as fun as wearing a vest made of meat to a dogfight. I'm glad we both managed to get out. Oh, and by the way, Miles, you didn't do such a great job of cleaning your shoes.
That would explain all the funny looks I've been getting. Still feeling rough, Bill?
Yes, but I'll feel better once this case is finished and we can go down to the Angel for a pint or 4.
Hair of the dog?
No better medicine.
So the 10th time he's brought that up, he's fucking thirsting for it.
Yeah. I was going to say something there, but let's just not.
When's the last time you took any time off?
That's a good question. What year is this again?
I think we've both been working a bit too much lately. Addie's been wanting to go visit her mother in Dixie. Maybe we can all go.
That sounds nice, but I wouldn't want to be a third wheel on a visit to your in-laws. Unless... Would Adelaide's brother be there by any chance?
You're incorrigible, Bill.
It's one of my finer qualities.
His voice sounds familiar.
Don't know. Ask Lisa how I should pronounce it. Yeah, I guess it's like Edinburgh, right? That's like spelt like Edinburgh. Or David Attenborough, like that we would say. I think you guys call him David Attenborough, right? Something like that?
Got any opinions on the upcoming election?
I'll just be glad when it's all over. It seems like the last few months have been nothing but people giving opinions and telling me what to do without a moment's peace.
I know what you mean. I already saw some kids putting up Atwood posters down my street.
I already drew mustaches in all the ones on my street.
Handlebar?
You know me too well.
I always thought of Atwood as more of a Van Dyke type of man myself.
I can see that. Yeah. Well, there's something to do tomorrow.
You enjoying this weather? It's a nice evening for it, not too hot. I find a bit of fresh air always helps clear out the mental cobwebs.
It's just too bad the air in the chum is about as fresh as a week-old corpse. At any rate, it'll be winter before you know it. The whole city will be shut down, and we'll be digging bodies out from under the snowbanks.
Always something to look forward to. The ferry ride over was surprisingly uneventful, don't you think?
I know. It doesn't really feel like a visit to the chum without seeing at least one fistfight. Ah, well, there's always the ride back.
Let's get back to it.
All right.
Nice.
Looks like they've had some trouble with vandalism.
Pretty much every business in this part of town has.
How
Certainly
far
looks
over the guy
cozy
on the
in
left?
there.
Plants have a nice way of doing that.
What's that?
Half over the guy on the left. But later. Sorry, I'm just looking up his
Voice actor?
voice actor. Yeah.
Come on, Bill.
It was lovely.
Charming little place, isn't it?
Charming, but empty. We need to find the owner.
Always so to the point for them. If ever there was a better time to stop and smell the flowers.
I think I'll leave that to you, Bill.
With my allergies? Hardly.
See the price of
This
these
price is
flowers.
pretty reasonable. The place I go in Worcester's clearly robbing me blind.
If you think those are bad, don't go near the flower shops in Lyon.
Like, it's not actually bad, but the
Not too many
perspective
left.
is really weird in
Seems
this
business
game.
isn't so bad around here.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. There are only 3 certainties in life. Death, taxes, and people taking advantage of sales.
Like that center thing that the flowers are on, the lines aren't parallel to the desk on the side, even though theoretically they would be.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, if you were to, say, draw a line from this dot all the way to the end of the screen and then move it down,
Yeah.
this wouldn't match. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is quite the selection. Come over here and take a whiff, Bill.
Sure, if you don't mind me getting snot all over your coat.
Hello.
No, not the Myers case all over again. On second thought, you can just stay over there. Plants hanging on hooks. Nice space-saving method.
I'd probably bang my head against them constantly if I had them in my apartment.
The music reminds me a little bit of Psycho.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mostly a bunch of fertilizer and growth tonics.
Growth tonics, eh?
Plant growth tonics, Bill.
Of course.
Oh,
I knew that.
he was talking about penis tonics.
I know. Been a filth bag.
Mm. Ding ding.
Be right there.
I do
Can't
declare.
recognize,
Oh, hello,
can't recognize
gentlemen.
anything. Is
I
in.
must say you caught me by surprise. I was preparing to close soon. May I help you find anything? The flowers in the center display are half price this week, and I have a special on chrysanthemums today. Or perhaps a custom bouquet for the special ladies in your lives?
I have no need myself, but maybe Adelaide would appreciate a little something. Eh, Miles? Those peonies in the corner look nice.
I'm afraid we're not here as customers tonight, ma'am. We'd like to have a word with the proprietor. Is he in?
I see. I'm Cecilia Handbook, and this is my shop. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
I'm Detective Miles Fordham, and this is my
You're not
partner,
a man.
William Legere. We received a report of a burglary at your store.
A report? From whom? I never contacted the police before, and I didn't this time, either.
It was made anonymously. But are you saying this isn't the first time it's happened?
Correct. It's happened 3 times. But considering the police hardly care about the daily muggings and vandalisms around here, I didn't think they would be interested in something so trivial.
Well, we're here now, and we'll do all we can to help you.
We'll have to see about that.
If you wouldn't mind, Mrs. Handbrook, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Very well, Detective.
I was wondering who's been stealing all the flowers, but I guess it could be the penis lotion as well.
Could you give me the details concerning the burglaries?
About 3 weeks ago on Monday, I noticed that my order of Easter lilies was missing. At first, I thought nothing of it. Sometimes certain types of flowers are unavailable or arrive in poor condition. These things happen. Then 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, it happened again. But this time, I noticed something rather odd.
Go on.
When I opened the shop, there were 6 crowns and 10 shillings on the counter.
That's not theft.
That's exactly the cost of 2 orders of lilies. Last Friday, it happened yet again. The lilies were missing, and there was payment for 1 order on the counter. I believe that someone has been breaking into my shop after hours, taking the lilies, and leaving money behind.
How unusual.
So someone's working the night shift and they just want to get some flowers.
Have you noticed any suspicious characters lurking around?
Detective Fordham, this is Chumley. You can't throw a stone without hitting a suspicious character. And if you've noticed my window, you'd be aware that stones get thrown around quite a bit in this neighborhood. If you're looking for trouble, you're far more likely to find it out there than in here.
I meant if you'd seen anyone out of the ordinary near your shop.
Only the 2 men from the police who entered it tonight.
Oof.
That is most definitely out of the ordinary.
Have you found any evidence of a break-in?
No, the front door is always locked. My assistant Trevor and I are the only ones with the key.
Are there any other points of access to the building?
The upstairs windows, I suppose, but I make sure to keep them locked, and neither of them have been broken.
Would you allow us to have a look upstairs?
Is that really necessary? I was just about to close up the shop.
It won't take but a moment.
Fine, I suppose you may, but please, don't dally too long.
So this burglar has been paying for the stolen goods?
That would appear to be the case, yes. I really don't think this could even be considered a crime. That's one of the reasons I didn't bother reporting it to the police.
And the other reasons?
Oh, I think I've already made those quite clear, Detective.
You mentioned your assistant has the other shop key. What can you tell me about him?
His name is Trevor Hastings, and he has been working for me for the past 10 years.
Do you trust him?
Implicitly. I've known him for ages, and he has been my full-time assistant since shortly after my husband died. You're not suggesting he had anything to do with this, are you?
Not at all. I would like to speak with him, though. Where might I find him?
It's Friday, so he should be on his way back from the docks right now. He'll be bringing my flower order within the hour.
Good. We'll meet him here then, if that's all right with you.
I suppose I don't really have much of a choice, do I?
I wonder if the break-in... It sounds... Well, I guess we don't know whether it's a forceful break-in or whether someone's entering with the key and it's just the fact that there's money. Like, what if he's closing up shop and he just decides to buy some before he locks the doors and stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, they would have thought he would go, oh yeah, sorry, it's me. But even paying for it, it's still breaking and entering.
I
It's
opened
still...
this shop 30 years ago, along
Yeah,
with my late
breaking and
husband.
entering, I don't know if it's
But
theft.
the past 10 years, I've been running things
Yeah, but
on
then what
my
if,
own.
like,
Don't you
even if
feel
you're paying
unsafe
for it, what if
being
those
here by
pianos
yourself
are
so
like,
late into the night?
or all of
Detective,
these are for an order?
When you've lived in this part of town
Right.
as long as I have, it takes quite a lot to scare you.
I think that's all the information I need for now.
All right, detective.
Like, it's still violating to break into a shop when it's closed.
Yeah. Find a point of entry
And
upstairs.
damaging.
Wait for Hastings. Okay.
What if it's
Interesting
Batman?
choice of decor in here.
Perhaps it wasn't always used as a storeroom, although I can understand why it would have been converted.
Yeah, it is rather drafty in here.
Could be Batman. It could be he's like stuck in halfway, like between fighting criminals. Pick up some flowers to put on his like that. You know, he puts the in the alleyway. He puts the flowers on the ground for
Yeah.
his parents.
Not giving them to Vicky Vale.
Pastoral landscape. Definitely
Could
nowhere
be
near
that too.
here.
I've never
Does it
much
do that,
understood
though?
art. But it would be nice to see
Probably
a
not.
place like that in
I think it's
person.
like, especially photography. Say photographer. She photographs him putting the flowers in the alleyway.
I would imagine that keeping a consistent temperature in here is important for the flowers.
When do you suppose this contraption was last serviced?
Hard to say. Definitely not recently, if the dust buildup is any indication.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. There's a gap between the window and the frame here. No wonder it's so drafty in this room.
Oh, yeah.
The signs maybe was taken off its hinge and put back.
Yeah, like a coat hanger could have been pulled through here to lift up the latch.
The window latch. Securely locked. I wonder.
What are you thinking, Fordham?
That it's time for an experiment. I'm going to need a tool, however. Something long and thin should do the trick.
Shouldn't be too hard to find something like that around here.
Okay.
This provides a means of escape from the top floor, or access to this window from the ground. A rather distinguished-looking gentleman.
Reminds me of Captain Snelling, if he ever smiled.
Seems to be the broken pot storage area.
Why not just throw them away, I wonder?
It's likely they're going to be repaired. I noticed some faint cracks in some of the pots downstairs.
What's that ancient Japanese art of fixing broken pots with gold? Can't remember the name of it. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Unmarked, but if the smell is anything to go by, this is where the flowers are stored when delivered.
I'll keep my distance then.
Unmarked, but if the smell...
I'll keep my distance.
I've seen this type of device before. It's a special container for growing plants. Specific temperature and water conditions can be adjusted. Seems to be empty right now, though. And judging by the dust, it hasn't been used in a long time, if ever.
It seems Mrs. Handbrook isn't too fond of steam tech, or just doesn't understand it.
Alright, where are we going to get a long and thin thing?
I don't think this window would serve as a viable means of entry.
It's a nice view, though. You can hardly see the vomit and manure piles on the street from up here.
A pastoral landscape. Definitely nowhere near here.
I've never much understood art, but it would be nice to see a place like that in person.
Maybe old mate's got something long and thin.
Bill?
What's going on, Miles?
I've heard of honor among thieves, but have you ever known a thief to pay for stolen goods?
Perhaps conducting normal business is just too boring for him. Do you think he might be doing it for the thrill?
There could be any number of reasons. The best way to find out is to catch the culprit and ask him ourselves. What's your impression of dear old Mrs. Hanbrook?
I like her. Good old-fashioned, tough-as-nails Chumley woman. Reminds me of my mother.
Your mother was never quite so stubborn. Why do you suppose she's so reluctant to accept our help?
It's a chum thing, Miles. You wouldn't understand.
Chumley always reminds me of the whenever they say it, I think of that TV show Pawn Stars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's I guess yeah. Is it Chumley on that show?
Yeah, his name's Chumley or Chum. Yeah, he's the goofball.
Yeah.
The gap in the window
It's kind
upstairs
of like
is
the
intriguing.
friend.
Do you
Because
think it might be the point of entry?
it's the one with the
Indeed.
3 generations, right?
Just
And
need
he's
to find
like the
something
friend
long
of
and thin to confirm my
one of them,
theory.
so it's
I
kind of like
think
an
we're born
outsider
with
as well.
something like that,
Yeah.
Miles.
You're disgusting, Bill.
I know. That's why I always do the dirty work.
Let's get back to it.
All right.
Is he in jail? I mean,
Yeah, I think so. He had a lot of weapons at his house or something like that. Where are we going? Do we have an inventory? I don't even know.
doesn't that make him a patriot?
Okay. Oh, we've got clues. Okay, missing lilies. 3 orders of lilies have been taken, but money has been left. According to the owner, the only points of entry, front door and the upstairs window, both are locked. Window gap. There's a small gap between the window frame which the draft enters. Small object could fit through. Okay, upstairs window leads to the fire escape. Yeah. Where are we going to get a long, thin thing? Maybe the lady will know. Hotspot icons will change when new interactions available. Okay.
I have a few more questions for you, Mrs. Hanbrook.
Very well, Detective. If it will help you conclude your investigation faster.
Mrs. Hanbrook, were you aware that there's a gap in the frame of the small upstairs window?
Is there? I only go up there to check that the window is locked. I've never noticed a gap. Are you suggesting that's how the burglar is entering the store?
Mm-hmm.
It's a distinct possibility, but I have yet to figure out exactly how.
Well, I trust you'll come to a satisfactory conclusion, Detective.
I think that's all the information I need for now.
All right, Detective.
Okay. Maybe the hanger is long and thin?
Aha! This hook is exactly what I
Yes.
need. Mrs. Hanbrook, may I borrow this hook for a few minutes? It's crucial to our investigation.
Is that so?
Yes, I promise I'll put it back as soon as I'm done.
Please do, Detective.
Okay. It's refreshing to have a game that the puzzles so far, at least, knock on wood, feel like legitimate, as in it's something that is based in reality.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say this early because some of them do seem logical at first before they throw weird shit at you. But
Yeah.
yeah, so far it's like logical.
Good. Bill, it's time for our experiment.
And what is this experiment going to be exactly?
Simple. I'm going to see if this hook can get me inside the shop.
Huh?
Rather dark out here.
Watch your step, then. This experiment of yours isn't worth a broken neck.
I'll be fine. Now then, could you please close and lock the window, Bill?
Oh, that's cool. I get to control it. Oh, that's really cool.
How'd you reset it afterwards,
Well,
though?
I'd say this is fairly incontrovertible proof that the building can easily be broken into without arousing suspicion.
Where'd you learn how to do that, anyway?
You taught me, remember?
Nah. Are you sure it was me?
What do you mean? How do you...
We were a
Where'd
few
you learn to
pints
do
in
that?
at the Angel about 5 years ago, and you decided
It's
I
not like
should
you
learn
picked
how
the
to play
lock.
box.
What else have I taught you how
Just
to do? while
slid a
filming?
thing in and
That would be
raise the
telling.
latch.
Maybe they exited the front door when they were done. Oh, who's this?
You'd have to.
Trevor.
Oh, Trev.
Evening, Cecilia. I've got the order ready to bring in.
Trevor, these are Detectives Fordham and Leger. They say there's been a report about the burglaries, and they're here investigating.
I only did it because I think it's been going on too long. As much as you want to, we can't handle this ourselves.
We can discuss the matter later. In the meantime, the detective would like a word with you.
I'll be needing to bring in the flowers first, if that's all right. Otherwise, some hooligan's likely to run off with them.
My partner will keep an eye on your flowers. Bill, would you mind?
Ah, the glamour of police work.
Now, Mr. Hastings, if I could ask you a few questions.
Go on, then.
What can you tell me about the recent burglaries?
I wish Cecilia had contacted you a lot sooner. She's a damn fine woman. But sometimes I think she'd rather jump in a rose bush than ask for help. Had to take matters into my own hands. This needs taken care of, and we can't do it on our own, as much as Cecilia would like to. Anyhow, alls I know is someone's been making off with some flowers and leaving money behind. No idea who it could be, how they're getting in, or why they even bother paying. In my day, if you robbed a place, you did it the right way. It's a sad state of affairs when even burglars don't do their jobs correctly.
Do you have much experience with burglary, Mr. Hastings?
Now, I never said that, Detective.
Have you noticed anyone or anything suspicious around here recently?
Nothing but the usual roughnecks, ragamuffins, and drunkards. Like I said, it's a real mystery.
Could you walk me through the process of your deliveries?
Of course, there's no great science to it. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons, Cecilia gives me her list of flowers to pick up from the wholesalers. I head over to Gas Cone around sunset when they get their shipment, and I give them her order. They load up the crate, I pay for it, and then I lug it back here.
How long does that take?
Between moving the crate and getting it across the river on the ferry, a couple of hours. Usually the store's closed by then, so I use my key to get in and leave the crate inside for Cecilia to open in the morning. That's all there is to it. Told you it wasn't very complicated.
Do you ever leave the crate unattended during that time?
No, sir. Never more than a minute. I may be old, but I got good eyes. I'd see if there were anything amiss. Besides that, I check to make sure the crate is still sealed when I drop it off. I'm not about to let Cecilia down by being careless.
Do you think he does that every time, though? Checks to see if it's sealed? Because I think after a bit of time, you might be a bit lax.
How long have you been working for Mrs. Hanbrook?
Been about 10 years now, I reckon. I used to help with deliveries now and then when it was her and David, her husband. But after he passed, she offered to make me her assistant. Unfortunate way to get it, but I needed the work. Used to be I had a job at one of the airship yards, but they let me go after I was injured by one of those newfangled steam machines. So the offer came at a good time. Besides that, Cecilia needed looking after, even though she'd never admit it. If I'm being honest, we're both getting a bit long in the tooth. Not sure how much longer we'll be keeping this up, but as long as I'm upright and breathing, I'll be bringing these crates along, even if it is murder on my back.
I admire your work ethic.
I've got a job to do. Not enough people these days seem to respect that.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Hastings. I'll let you get back to work.
Appreciate it, Detective.
We didn't learn about himself,
If you don't
though.
mind, Detective, I still need to check the crate before I bring it in.
Of course. Thank you again for your help.
Learn anything?
Possibly. I may have an idea.
Ah, you're being cryptic. That's always a good sign. But if you've got a plan, let's talk about it.
Got a minute, Bill?
For you, Miles, I've got 5.
Any thoughts on Mrs. Hanbrook's assistant, Trevor?
Yes, I feel sorry for him.
Why? He seems to enjoy his work.
Nah, it's not that. He's obviously smitten with Mrs. Hanbrook, but she won't give him the time of day.
What? You only saw him for a few moments. How in the ether did you get that impression?
The way he looked at her, the way he spoke when he confessed to contacting the police. Shall I go on?
No, that's fine. I see what you mean.
Really, Miles. You'd be surprised what you can learn from people if you just look at them.
Why bother doing that when I've got you to do it for me? Right. Based on what we've been told in our experiment, I can only conclude that our burglar is using the upstairs window to get into the shop.
So, what do you propose we do about it?
It's happened repeatedly over the past 3 weeks, on one of the delivery nights. Since it has yet to occur this week, and today is Friday, logic dictates it should be
Oh,
tonight.
a sting.
So we settle in and wait to see if the burglar returns? Catch him in the act?
Exactly. It's our best chance of solving this before the trail goes cold.
And I was really looking forward to getting that drink at the
Jesus, this guy.
I know, but it's as you said yourself, there'll be plenty of other opportunities. Besides, forbearance is good for the soul.
Spoken like someone who truly has no idea how to have any fun.
I'm sure I'll get the hang of it one of these days, especially with your expert tutelage.
Okay, let's go have a chat with Mrs. Hambrook. I'm sure she'll be delighted to know we're spending the night. Damn, I forgot to bring my deck of cards again.
At least it's quiet up here. I'm surprised we didn't go deaf after the last time we did this.
What?
I said, oh, right. Your sense of humor remains on point.
Miles, have you ever considered leaving all this behind?
What, you mean quitting the force?
The force, the city, going off and seeing what else is out there, you know?
I'd miss it too much. Wouldn't you?
I was thinking I might visit Harley out west. She makes it sound like a dream in her letters. Wide open spaces, fresh air. I know I'm a city boy and would probably miss New Britannia's filth and squalor after a week, but...
You should do it. A change of scenery never hurt anyone. Plus, it's much easier for you than it is for me. I've got a family to consider, after all.
Ah, right.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that, Bill. It's just...
Shh. I think I heard something.
Oh, there's a scary man.
Oh, no.
Bill?
Oh, Bill.
you
Damn
dickhead.
it. He's got up the fire escape. We can corner him on the roof. Stay close and keep me covered.
Bill. Oh, his hat.
Bill!
Stay back, officer. Got a knife. Ready your pistol for him.
But you're too close!
I trust you, Miles. Your pistol, now! There's really no need for this, officer. I respect your desire to uphold justice. Mine is more important. If you let me go, I won't come back. And we can all forget this ever happened. Don't listen to this lunatic, Miles. Take your shot before things get worse.
Oh, what are we going to do, guys? It looks like we've got a bit of a decision to make. Are we going to reason with the burglar? Or are we going to take a shot? Part of me feels like we should take a shot because it's exciting, but I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
We're playing probably reason.
Tongs?
I mean, this isn't America. This isn't set in America.
What do we think? First person to respond in chat with what we want to do, we'll do it. And a uwu to you. Happy Easter. Reason. Oh, DG got...
Happy Easter!
Thanks, Scoob.
Look, we've caught you red-handed. Put down the knife, let my partner go, and give yourself up.
No! I'm not going to jail. Do you know what they do to people in there?
Yes, I do. If you cooperate, I'll see if I can get the judge to ease your sentence.
I appreciate your tactics, Fordham, but this really isn't the time.
All right. Well, we've come back. Do we reason or do we take a shot? Get in there, Tongs. You know you want to. Will Deej get in before you? Who knows? Here we go.
You're not a killer. Don't make things worse for yourself.
You don't know anything about me. One thing's for sure. I'm not going to jail. So let me go free, or else your partner is going over the side. Fordham, this madman clearly can't be reasoned with. Take your shot, now!
All right, we're back to here. Do we take the shot or do we try reasoning again?
No, but the option is like burglar go.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're
So-
shooting.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, God.
Bill!
I am so sorry, my friend. I am so sorry.
That's just like a flat out miss.
Yeah, we didn't do too well, did we? Oh. Yeah, well, you can
Wasn't he one of the main characters?
you can have a drink with the gods.
Rough night?
What?
Oh, he's alive.
Overdid it on the soporific.
Alive?
Why do I feel like I've had this conversation before?
I'm just glad you're in the mood to converse again. Seriously, you took so much of that snake oil last night, I was starting to think you wanted me quiet for good.
Oh, his spirit is with us, I guess.
Oh. I just need a break now and then.
It's no personal slight. I just need some quiet time, or I'll go insane.
I get it. We all need our space. I know it's not easy, but there's really no need.
Not easy. Bill, I've been hearing your voice since you died. You don't shut up unless I take that accursed medicine. I'd say that qualifies as a bit more than not easy.
Yeah, well, how do you think I feel? You think I enjoy being trapped here, listening to you
Oh, wow.
whine about how hard your life's become? You at least still have yours.
Can never jack it again. That's well, maybe they're special friends, Tongs.
I'm losing my grip on reality, and it's all because of you.
Believe me, I know. It's not a pretty situation. But the bottom fact is, you're stuck with me. So you can either keep living this way and ruin your life even more than you already have, or you can do as I've told you and try to figure out a way to let me move on.
Right. For the 1000th time, you want me to find the burglar from the flower shop.
Yes, exactly.
I still don't get how that's going to help.
I can understand your confusion, considering it was you who killed me.
Oh.
But the point remains. You wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place if not for him. Once the criminal has been caught and is in custody, we'll both get what we want.
Yeah, because like if this was a situation where it was a woman, or I guess whatever gender you're interested in, you could just like go, hey, could you do me a favor, just moan a little for like 30 seconds, just.
Oh
Just
my
enough to get me out of your
god.
head.
That's where you're
That'd
going
be
with. Oh god. Oh, filth bag Steve. Gives a new meaning to the stranger, hey.
Yeah, it would feel like a stranger, except it's through voice instead of physical.
A decent night's sleep?
More than that, you'll have that elusive thing you always wanted to give others. Closure.
You do realize the trail's pretty much frozen at this point. Our man has seemingly vanished into the ether.
That's no excuse not to keep trying. I know the cases Upton's been giving you these past few months haven't been the most thrilling, but they've at least kept you active. So just keep at it. Something has to turn up eventually. Unless, of course, you want to wind up in Riverview Asylum. And if that happens, I'm really not going to keep quiet.
Fine.
Good man. Now, I suggest you stop talking to thin air, or Adelaide's gonna start wondering if you've gone mental. Or just maybe, she'll stop wondering.
Very funny.
Oh, he'd be there when they're when he's being intimate with Adelaide.
Yep.
Pretty, but I'm glad I don't have a sense of smell anymore.
Do you remember Gran had a friend called Adelaide that lived across the road?
Yeah, I was going to raise it when they first mentioned Adelaide. Well, I was thinking of there's probably going to be an opportunity to raise that. She was yeah, she was someone that's like I guess because I would never known this as a kid because it was either before my time or not that observant, but she used to be married to like an Anzac soldier that like fought in World War II. I think it was one of the Rats of Tobruk. I guess for the American audience, they probably don't know, but when Australia served in Greece fighting the Italians in World War II, at one stage the Germans sent the tanks into that area because Greece was kind of starting to win, and then everything turned badly when the German tanks arrived, and the Rats of the Brook are like a retreating column of Australian soldiers where they just had to march with barely any supplies through, I guess, the Brook mostly. Yeah, he was one of those guys, but he was like, I think they said like that generation, like they're very dominant and stuff.
Mm.
So when he passed away, Adelaide didn't know how to do anything. She didn't know how to pay a bill. She didn't know how to like write a check. She was completely helpless because he just did everything. That's one thing our grandmother did, is help her learn, like teach her how to do a whole bunch of stuff. Just like the regular living stuff that I guess the power dynamics at the time meant she didn't learn.
Well, it's kind of flipped the other way now because, like, when Lisa's mum passed away, her dad didn't know how to do all these things, so Lisa's had to teach her dad how to pay bills and use phones and all sorts of, yeah.
Use phones.
Use phones for like banking and things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we said it before. It's I don't know what's going on. It's probably a USB power thing, or maybe it's just my inner turmoil. Let's just say it's that. I also dated a girl called Adelaide back when I was about 16.
Pretty, but I'm glad I don't have a sense of smell anymore.
Oh, really?
I'm certain a
try to get a
permanent
dress in old
indentation in the
woman's
shape of your
clothing.
rear is starting to form on that thing.
She went
But,
by Adele though.
Okay.
Was she nice?
I was thinking the names
It's a long
kind of
time
died
ago.
out, but I guess in the few cases it's there. It is probably people going by a shorter version.
Yeah. It's weird how you have memories tied to different things. When I think of her, because at that time, the song by Rammstein, the song was called "Stripped." The music video came out around that same time. So I always associate those two things, even though I don't really think about her ever when I see that video clip.
Remember
Okay.
before you started taking that medicine and you could actually read a book for more than 10 minutes before falling asleep? You were a lot more fun to talk to back then.
I think I can't picture Adelaide for some reason. Like I remember just being around a lot
As in
when I
Grand's
was over
Adelaide.
there, and yeah, and then Gran and Adelaide talking in the kitchen. I have distinct memories, but I can't remember what she looked like.
I think she had curly hair from memory.
Yeah, that's like standard old woman.
Yeah.
That's like every member of the Golden Girls. It's not so
Yeah.
much curly, but yeah.
She was probably a less slutty version of Rue Callahan.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then there was
I don't
Grand
think she even slept with anyone else after her husband passed.
that you know of.
I suppose so.
I always liked that self-portrait of Adelaide's mother, even if the eyes do always follow you around the room. That's a fun little
there's-
apparatus Adelaide got you. Very soothing.
Watching it spin long enough puts me right to sleep.
I'd say that's really more the soporifics doing.
There was one of so it wasn't the main friend of Gran's because I don't think she was around that much, but I can't remember who it is even now. But
I bet I know who it is, but go on.
there's this friend of hers that because I think like I never really watched that much football, but I used to barrack for Footscray Bulldogs because the family did, most of the family did at least. That and I used to have like a security blanket of a crochet blanket, and I must have seen that, or that would have been at my mum's. I don't know. Maybe I talked about it, but one of Grant's friends promised to make a crochet blanket for me with bulldog colors, which is red, white, and blue. It's like a very distinct memory. I sort of do remember it, because I did think that would be neat at the time, but it was all the way into my 20s because I was probably under 10 at the time, like 8 or something like that.
Mm.
And then all in my 20s, there was some sort of event where it was Grand's friend, and she said, "Oh, I've got something for you," and she got a crochet blanket with the bulldog colors, and like that sparked I did remember someone promising that. Couldn't remember it was her, but yeah, she just gave me this blanket, and then kind of feel bad because I've sort of kept it, but I don't have much use for it. Like, what would I use a crocheted blanket for?
That's all
But
right.
yeah, it
You
was
know,
a neat gift. It was very neat for her to do that. It would have taken hours of work, but yeah.
oh, for sure. After seeing how much, like, because Lisa crochets when she's watching TV now, making like little croissant handbags and things like that. It takes so long and there's so much work involved because there's always that thing when she was learning is like she would miscount stitches and things would be not aligned anymore, and then she would have to
Yeah.
undo all the work to go back and do it.
Yeah.
Was that friend Greta?
Nah, because I would remember Greta,
Ah, okay.
and I would have seen Greta a lot more.
Yeah, gotcha.
Greta's the one that I could remember clearly, just because of like the way she talked was
Real
a
deep.
little bit weird. Yeah, real deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, there was like this weird slur, or like, yeah, the way she spoke wasn't.
I think it's because she's German. Like,
Yeah, there was like a little bit of like she didn't have the accent, but
Mm.
there was like a little bit left over.
Miles, care to explain what you're doing?
Just checking to make sure everything that needs to be in here still is.
Right. If you start taking that stuff during the day, you're really going to have problems.
Are they blue chews in there? Is that what he's referring to? I don't know.
It's admirable just how organized Adelaide is. Maybe someday the same can be said about you. Cozy little winter
Butchers were
getaway.
at the
That would be a
florist.
welcome change from the winters in this city.
You know what it is? It's Stree Overlord in there.
Yeah,
Ha, that poster brings back
that's
some
the Street Fighter
memories.
one, isn't it?
That's
Yep.
from around the time you two met, isn't it?
Yes, back when Addie was singing at the Angel.
Addie. There you go. Addie. Look at everything in here. What's
I'm
this?
certain a permanent indentation in the shape of your rear is starting to form on that thing.
I have a chair like this. It's like was handed down from like my grandfather's grandfather or something. And I've got it in our room and we call it Raman's throne because she sits on it and she's so small compared to the actual
Oh,
thing.
okay. That's sweet.
Well, look who's awake. Ready to rejoin the living?
Very much so.
You were talking in
Aw.
your sleep again.
Did I say anything interesting?
Do you ever?
You have to admit, she's got you there.
How are you feeling?
A touch groggy. I think I took a bit too much of the soporific last night.
That's what I thought. When you went for your after-lunch nap, you'd barely gotten breakfast down. I saved you some bread and cheese if you're hungry.
Thank you, but I haven't got much of an appetite.
You really should regulate your doses more carefully, love. I'm sure dull senses and an empty stomach aren't much help to your work. By the way, a message arrived via courier for you this morning. I put it on the table along with today's newspaper.
Thank you, dear.
You know, okay. It's only because I've watched this. Oh. Hello.
Hello, Baltimore.
Trending tech.
Someone new is following you.
Thank you for
Looks
the follow.
like I've got competition.
This character here, it's because I've watched it recently. I watched The Talented Mr. Ripley for the first time.
Okay.
He looks like Peter. A pixel art Peter
Oh, from
from that movie.
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Oh, it's really good. I even started watching the Ripley Netflix TV series, which is also based on that same book. Instead of Matt Damon, though, it's got... Did you ever watch the Sherlock series, the BBC one?
No.
Oh, man, you'd
Is that
love
the one
it.
with Cumberbatch?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy that plays Moriarty, the bad guy, he's a really cool actor, but he is the Matt Damon character.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Fordham, a big case has come in which I think you will interest you. Meet me at the Ruin Coffee House for more details. See Upton.
Upton says she's got a big case for me.
Does she go into any more detail than that?
No, but then you know Upton. Always on a need-to-know basis. Especially since she's been giving me these cases under the table.
To be fair, they haven't exactly been anything of note.
True, but she's still sticking her neck out for me. I can understand why she's so secretive about it.
I think she just misses having you around the station.
Poor Connie. With you quitting and me dying, she must be bored stiff at work.
Anyway, I'm supposed to meet her at the Ruin Coffee House. That can't be right.
It's not like Constance to make mistakes. She must have gotten in somehow.
Guess I'll head over there and see what she's got then.
Andrew Scott. Is that what the actor's name is? I'm not too sure.
It's been so long since you used that desk, did you even notice when Adelaide got rid of the chair?
Oh, a bottle of beer.
Bollingworth Ale, my favorite. And a nice souvenir from the Angel. You really ought to go back there someday.
Truncheon.
I'd love to see the look on Snelling's face if he ever found out you kept your old truncheon. Ah, the Havisham case. Our first time out as partners. First in a long line of successful cases.
Is that
It's nice to
so?
have
The
a memory of
truncheon.
the good old days.
Does that mean he's retired, or is that just like from his walking the beat days?
That's what I think it is, because he's a
So
detective
it's
now.
since he became detective. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You remember how much time Adelaide had to spend convincing you to sit for this? At least these days, with ferrotype tech advancing the way it is, these portraits can be done in just a matter of minutes. Your book collection has always astonished me. Heaven help you if you ever decide to move.
Did he get promoted because he was a good detective, or because he was too shitty a shot to be a beat officer?
Building those model ships was a good way to pass the time between cases. Hopefully it'll be a while before you get enough time to build another one.
He did tell us to shoot, though. So we were only
Yeah.
following his orders. It's like the, remember in Speed at the start?
Oh yeah, you see the hostage, yeah.
Yeah. You shot me!
That makes me wonder what old Mrs. Handbrook is up to these days.
I still think Speed is one of the best action films of all time. One of the best. Not the best, but it's up there. It's in the conversation.
It might do you some
Yeah,
good
I
to look
haven't
in the
thought about
mirror
it
a
much
bit more
because,
often,
like,
guys.
you had that like action showdown. I think there's kind of a top 4 at that, but Speed's probably in the top 5. It's pretty good.
Mm.
I always like that painting. It's impossible to see that kind of scenery here in the city.
No, Madge, definitely not. Welcome in, by the way. Speed 2 is horrible. Horrible.
I haven't seen Speed 2 and I've heard it's horrible, but that said, the visual effects, the corridor crew, the visual effects guys, they did a bit on. One of the ones they showed was the scene where the boat crashes into the town, and that did actually look spectacular.
Yeah,
But then even they said it's fucking horrible outside the 2 minutes or 2 to 5 minutes of the boat smashing. The movie's kind of horrible.
So I was willing to give it the benefit of that. I watched it for the first time maybe about 2 years ago. Definitely on board because Willem Dafoe's the bad guy. That's always cool, and was going in with an open mind. But the thing that really, the pacing's weird, but the thing that really got me is the scene with the boat. All right. First of all, the boat takes about, very minor spoilers, at one stage a boat crashes through a pier and into a town. That's the scene of the boat going in, which would in real life probably take, I don't know, all of 20 seconds, was probably about 15 minutes long.
Yeah,
of it,
it just keeps
slowly
going.
It keeps going and going and going. But the thing that got me is, remember the Austin Powers movies where there's that scene where it would cut to different people and they're going hot nuts, and there'd be all these dick innuendos in rapid order.
Roughly.
It had that kind of thing where it would just have multiple people, maybe 15 different people, having their reactions to the boat coming through, and it was horrible, and it felt like a skit. It was
Yeah, the editing looked a bit weird, but then I think I guess the corridor crew makes it look better just because you see the behind the scenes and like they built a whole town in order to have this boat smash through it.
Oh gosh.
But I didn't avoid it because I probably would have, if it was on, I probably would have given it a go. But then I've heard it's terrible since.
It's worth giving it a shot to know for yourself, but also it makes Speed 1 even much better. I won't read all of this, I'll just read the main headings.
I think Speed 2 probably would have been, I thought I heard, or maybe I didn't hear and just assumed that it's like from the populated one, they just get a script that's close enough and adapt it. Which sometimes works out because Die Hard 3 is basically that, but I think that worked out better.
Die Hard 3 is my favorite of the Die Hards. Easily.
Oh, yeah. 1 and 3 I really like. Maybe 1's slightly better, but those are the 2 I really like out of the Die Hard ones.
For me,
I do.
1 is played too often, And you know how, like, I think this is a very you thing where when people sort of talk about or overhype something, you don't really appreciate it as much as if people didn't.
Yeah.
The fact that everybody goes, "Oh, Die Hard's a Christmas movie," it's the whole hot dog is a sandwich scenario that just pisses me off. It's just so old
Okay,
hat, and it's like, ugh. So
Yeah, 'cause I usually get annoyed with that kind of stuff. But I think, I guess it's part of those, like, when you just kind of semi-despise Christmas stuff.
yeah,
It's
From-
like the fact that it annoys people in the sense of, like, they're very. It's like the definition of Christmas stuff is it's got to be completely saccharine and artificial and based off commercialism, and yeah. Whereas I'd like to be my favorite Christmas movie just to say that, and it's like because it's a legitimate action movie that's delivering to its audience what they want, and that said, I do have a favorite Christmas movie that's not Die Hard, but yeah.
Psycho for me, I would say I'm not allergic to hype. I appreciate hype when it's valid, but what I hate about the whole Die Hard is a Christmas movie thing is every single person that says it almost comes across as if they coined it, like that's their idea, and it's lame as hell. I don't know. There's better.
I would have never thought about that unless it was pointed out, like someone said it and pointed out this and this. And there's enough stuff where it's like it's not even remote. It does have most of the beats where it's like there is a Christmas miracle in it, and it snows technically, even though it's paper instead of snow.
Tongs is so right. Tongs exactly summed up perfectly how I feel. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking when people say that. Yeah. The best Christmas movie is Home Alone. I would agree. It's definitely in the conversation match for sure. I would say as well, Child's Play is a good Christmas film. Long Kiss Goodnight's a good Christmas film. Gremlins is a really good Christmas film as well.
It's pretty good, although I prefer Gremlins too.
Oh really? I don't like comedy in my horror.
Yeah, I think it might have been because, like, when I was a kid, Gremlins 1 might have been a bit too dark for me to enjoy fully. But yeah.
Steve likes Gremlins too because of the sexy gremlin, right? Is that what you're getting at? I bet it is.
You see? The sexy gremlin.
There you go. I called it before you even said it. Love it.
Or just picturing the scene of her getting off with Robert Picardo.
Oh, is he in Gremlins?
Yeah, he's the, like, executive officer, like the evil corporation guy that's not the Trump-like, or Trump and Ted Turner mixed together is what the main guy is supposed to be like. Mm-hmm. But then there's this second higher up, and he's like another corporate douchebag. Robert Picardo, plays a corporate douchebag.
My favorite role for Robert Picardo is Johnny Cab in Total Recall.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Although I started Voyager the other day for the first time, like I'm going to go through it and watch it. And
you said you watched the first episode.
Yeah, I've now watched 3, I think, total. I'm enjoying it a lot. Yeah, I didn't realize the story. Like, I didn't know about the whole marquee thing, about how the two things come together because they get warped into a different, like, 75 million light years away or whatever it was called. It's cool. It's cool.
That's spoiling. I wish they went into that a bit more than they actually did, but that was the fascinating thing with the start of it is it's not like a crew that just works together. It is learning to work together or learning to live together with basically a former enemy. That element is really cool. And then also there's more friction with everyone except Harry hating the Tom Paris character. Which I think is a scumbag.
I liked there was a line in last night's episode. Last night, I usually watch it before bed, where Janeway goes to Chakotay and says, if things had been different... No, sorry, Chakotay says to Janeway, if things had been different and Voyager was destroyed and you were all on my ship, would you be under me? Like, would you serve under me? And she says something like, the good thing about being a captain is you don't have to answer every question.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool. Because she wouldn't. Anyway, I'll just read these lines. Remembering the HMS Ligeia, Gascon Grand Dame dies. How do you pronounce this? A? Is this an A sound?
I think it's like A.
Oh,
It's just that when the
E.
letters are together, they do that fancy thing.
They referred to it as ether before. So Ether City, it's real and it's coming, says the scientist. And second bizarre murder baffles police. Second bizarre murder.
I think I've explained HMS before, but that's the British version of USS, like a ship name.
Her Majesty's Service.
Yeah, it stands for Her Majesty's Service.
Glad to see that the panties from Broken Sword 2 are being used.
Yeah.
Psycho, did you see that there's a piss cat plush?
I'm heading
Yeah, you
out for now.
posted that.
Goodbye, dear. Love you.
Love you too.
Yeah, you do need it. How good would that be to just have on the Actually, let me show you something real quick. I'll be back in a moment.
I guess it's like, yeah, Home Alone's a good choice for a Christmas movie because, again, it's not one of those saccharine ones that's giving the audience what they want and an interesting story while also being Christmas. My one, and it is more of a Christmas movie, but it's like, or the traditional, except it's like, I think less saccharine, at least to me, is Scrooged is maybe my favorite Christmas movie.
Ah, yeah, Scrooge is pretty good. All right, so speaking of cat plushes, this is my ramen cushion.
Oh, so you actually got it.
Oh, Lisa got me this ages ago, and we always have it on the couch.
Yeah, that one, yeah. So I got it mixed up because you talked about the piss cat one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's double-sided too, in case you want to quickly flip her around. That's so funny. All right, off to the coffee house we are. There she is.
Ah, the Rouen Coffee House. Worst Java in Lamplight City, but there's no better place to overhear all the rumors and gossip in town. Just make sure you don't get too close to the other patrons. Discretion was never your forte.
What if your partner can enjoy drinking through you, like enjoy coffee or enjoy alcoholic drinking, which he did when he was alive?
Oh, as in Bill.
Yeah.
Or what if he actually, you can drink unlimited amounts of alcohol and you never get drunk because
he gets
Bill
drunk.
gets it? Yeah. Oh, nice. That's cute.
Not in much of a hurry to clean up in here, are they?
I learned the other day that one of my work colleagues, he used to work in hospitality, and he's a bit of a filth bag, but not in the Steve sense of the word filth bag. He just eats like food that's expired and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, when he worked in hospitality, he would often finish off people's plates as he would collect the plates off the table. If he saw something that was yum, he would just eat it. It's like, oh man, that's so foul.
How much of that? Because I don't have, like, to me it's case by case, but where you stand on the Seinfeld thing of like not touching discarded food, like even when it's clean and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's for sure.
Like someone's been eating like chicken off their plate and they offer you, they say to finish it off, and it's like that's your plate.
What a cheery reminder of everyone's impending death. That whole thing about the man in the black robe, complete lie, by the way. Nice seaside landscape. Definitely a stark contrast to the ambiance in here.
Oh yeah, that kills me, Psycho. That story about Dan pulling popcorn buckets out of the trash and filling it up. The worst part that maybe he's never even thought of in that story is the fact that when people are eating popcorn in the movies, they often lick their fingers because they got like the what is it? The flavor, Buttercoal, I think it's called, or whatever it is, Flavor Coal on their fingers. So they're licking their fingers and they go back in for more popcorn. So he's just got like everybody's discarded. Yeah, that's gross.
I was gonna say, well, I guess no one really does this in a movie theater. I guess some people do, but the thing I was thinking of is like, if you drop popcorn on the ground, like once you're done with the bucket, if you're conscientious, you'll pick up the popcorn off the ground and put it back in the bucket, so you'll have those ones mixed in.
Yeah. Or what if someone's been a filth bag and they do that trick with the hole in the bottom of the popcorn bucket?
I guess you couldn't do really anything on the popcorn knowing someone's going to grab it, because that'd be probably the percentage of ones that would be grabbed by someone like Dan would be rare, but otherwise, yeah. So you're probably safe from that.
Yeah.
Because there's a thing I told
Best
you, I
avoid
think
that
you
one.
reacted
Looks like he might tip
much
over
more than I
at
thought
any
you would,
moment.
but
Reminds me of when I was alive.
the thing when you're at a
Ah,
pub and you're at the
good
urinal, you
times.
have a urinal and you grab a $1 or $2 coin out of your pocket and drop it into the trough and then see if it disappears by the end of the night.
You know what? Maybe I've told this story before, maybe I haven't. But I think it was on my Bucks night. We went out to, I think we went to the strippers or something like that. This was obviously like, 12 years ago or something like that. But there
Oh,
was
Sarah, no, I don't remember that.
there was a $2 coin in the trough, and somebody did pick it out, like what you assume would happen. Our friend Aaron and I saw it happen, where a guy went up to his wrist in the pee to get a $2 coin.
Oh, God. And the reason it's there is the person probably dropped it purposely there.
Probably, yeah.
So that would happen, even if they don't witness it. When they see it disappear, they know someone did that.
Someone was probably watching and waiting to see someone do it.
Now, the times of my friends have done it, it's like you're not necessarily watching it. You just do it, and yeah, knowing that if it disappears, that's what happened. Otherwise, you can't just sit there. You're going to spend the whole night watching the toilet.
What is it? The killer always returns to the scene of the crime.
He's missing his left arm below the elbow. How do you suppose that happened? He and his friend are having quite the conversation. I bet it's really boring. She's running back and forth at lightning speed. Clearly, she dips into the coffee supply. Judging by the sooty apron, this man is either a metal worker, a chimney sweep, or just really lazy when it comes to washing. Just one of many patrons contributing to the oppressive thug in here. Asleep at a coffee house. One of life's little ironies.
Ah, yeah, I see the irony there.
If it isn't my old friend, up to no good.
Hello, Fordham. It's good to see you.
How did you get them to let you in here?
It's rather simple, really. The owner and I have an understanding. He pretends women are allowed in coffee houses, and I don't report his unsavory business practices to Chief Snelling.
Sounds like a good deal. What sort of unsavory business practices are we talking about?
Oh, we haven't got time to get into that now. But take some advice. Don't order anything that isn't water.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
I got your message. What's going on?
It's time for you to join the big boys again, Fordham. Your days of finding lost cats are over.
So stop teasing me and tell me what it is already.
Do you know Madame Laura Dupre?
Laura Dupre. I know Andy Dufresne.
Laura Dupre. She's one of those Gascon Grand Dames, isn't she?
That's right. I'm surprised you've heard of her. I didn't think you cared about those types of people.
I don't, but Adelaide has several of them as clients. She gets paid to pretend to care about their lives, and I get to hear the sordid details.
Madame Dupre died the day before yesterday. Her funeral was held this morning.
My condolences.
But halfway through the service, the mourners heard a loud knocking coming from inside her
Oh,
coffin.
jeez.
She wasn't dead?
Apparently not. Nearly interred alive, although her doctor swears she had no pulse. Dupre's son Andrew was quick to suspect foul play. He accused a man named Albert Martin, and the police arrested him.
So where do I come in? Sounds like the case has already been solved.
I strongly suspect that Martin is innocent, especially considering the talk of him having used black magic on Dupre. The police feel they have enough evidence to convict, so they're not bothering to investigate any further. You're going to look into it and see if I'm right, then find the person who was really behind this.
Okay.
Why not just ask Madame Dupre herself?
She hasn't spoken since the ordeal. Apparently, she's been catatonic since they pulled her out of the coffin.
How unfortunate.
If you'd like to question Mr. Martin, he's being held at the Bow Street Jail. Or you could take a look around his house. It's at 451 Compton Street in Worcester.
And the Dupre home?
That's at Emmeline and Comtesse. right across from the old Angeline convent. It's also possible you might run into the police during your investigation, since they're technically still on the case.
Thanks for the warning.
Maybe we aren't a cop anymore. Maybe we're more of a
Wanted to talk about
PI.
before you get started?
Maybe shooting your partner, lethally shooting your partner might
Yeah.
be disqualification from the force.
Had to hand out in our gun and our badge.
Yeah, and letting the bad guy away. Like,
Yes.
it's not even like a, oh
had a
shit, I
couple of
fucked up.
questions.
Oh, at least
Let's hear them
I'll
then.
shoot the bad guy.
How are things going with you?
Work is hectic as usual, and I'm spending my day off in here. But
is
considering my
more
home
disabled.
life is still a shambles, maybe this is the best place to be.
I'm truly sorry about that.
Don't be ridiculous. If it hadn't been for you, I'd still be chained to that philandering bastard. It hasn't been easy, but I'm much better off this way. Trust me. Anyway, work gives me something to focus on. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yes, and I'm grateful to you for getting me these case leads. I know you're taking a risk to do it.
It's the least I can do. How about you? How's Adelaide?
She's fine, although things between us could be improved, if I'm being honest. The less said about it right now, the better, I think.
I'm sorry to hear that. You can talk to me about it if you need to, although I'm probably not the best person to ask for relationship advice.
Don't suppose there have been any developments regarding Bill's murder?
Unfortunately not. The department hasn't exactly been focusing on that case as a priority.
Didn't we murder Bill?
General attitude is that it was an accident. Bill died an honorable death in the line of duty.
Would have been nice if they bothered saying that at the funeral.
And of course there are still those who blame you for his death, Snelling being the first and foremost.
But the man who really caused Bill's death is still out there.
Yes, I know, but it looks like you're on your own if you want to find him. My hands are tied. I can only ask around so much before the higher-ups get suspicious. Just don't give up. New Britannia may be a big city, but the criminal world is surprisingly close-knit. If you find any connections or leads during your other cases, be sure and let me know. I'll do the same if I find anything out.
See, she has a priority stream. Could learn a lot from Upton.
Yeah, no worries, trending check. You should be able to reach me on Discord. There was a I used to have, apparently I had the DMs disabled, but I enabled it not that long ago. What error were you getting? Did it say that it was closed off or something, or?
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
What do you know about Madame Dupre?
Only what I've read about her in the paper. She's been married thrice, which I can empathize with, and she's extremely rich, which I can't.
What makes you think this Martin fellow is innocent?
The fact that the only evidence is the word of Dupre's son. I've seen this sort of thing thousands of times, and I'm sure you did too. They're just looking for a scapegoat. You're the only person I know who can put it right.
Upton's intentions are noble, but she has to realize this is just a drop in the ocean.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay,
That's it, I think.
then you'd better get back to it.
Well, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help you find the flower shop burglar, but I suppose freeing an innocent man is a worthy diversion.
All right, 1 second. There you go. I've accepted the friend's request, so you can just ping me there. That's fine. All right. Oh, Pissad McGee. All right, we've got a bunch of places to check. Dupre Manor, the coffee house we just went to. We can go to the jail, or we can go to Compton Street. Where do you reckon we should go? I kind of want to go see the jail. Let's go there. Oh.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something a cat spat up.
Hello, Giles. It's lovely to see you too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already?
Gallows?
What about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic
Oh my
involved.
God.
This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Yikes.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he? He's watching you like a hawk. Looks liable to toss you in one of his cells if you try any funny business.
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Dupre. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
All right. Madame Dupre.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it wasn't you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Baltimore.
Appreciate
it
the
looks
sub.
like someone subscribed. I'm gonna give them a face waterfall of blood.
Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame Dupre's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with Dupre's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Juliet Montgomery. Dupre doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and, loving as my dear Juliet.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
This is kind of like the story. Have you ever seen Candyman, Steve?
I think I know the premise. I don't know if I've watched whole sections of it, but I don't know if I've watched the whole movie.
So the premise being that he was originally in love with the rich person's daughter, and rather than the noose, they killed him with bees, and that's why he comes back and is a bee killer, in a sense.
Yeah.
Tell me about Juliet.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days. Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliet studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say. Had the same taste in books and art. Didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better. I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
What if... Here's my outstanding theory to begin with. So the mother was buried alive, essentially. She had no pulse by the doctor, and she woke up in the coffin, scratching and knocking. What if Juliet did it? Is that what her name is? The daughter did it, using like botanicals, like flowers and things like that, that makes you, appear to be dead or whatever. That's my theory at this stage, anyway.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame Dupre. The next thing I knew, I was here.
Obviously, Cloud of has been spin. What if she, the daughter,
I just hope she's all right.
knows black magic because he said the mother is the devil herself. What if the daughter is that an evil, or at least nasty
Yeah.
enough to kill her mother for whatever reason, and then had a relationship with this guy and impressed him so that she could make him the fall guy?
Yeah.
The
yeah.
obvious black magic user.
Could
Possible
be.
black magic user, yeah.
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She helps people.
I was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... how can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
Voodoo?
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame Dupre's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship in the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
Of course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
That's all for now.
Wait, before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose I could do that.
Code
yes.
words?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to a simple I love you?
That could be a really nefarious code word rather than what he says it is.
What's this?
Like, we're like Tiffany. Oh, not Tiffany. Like the main character from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I haven't seen it.
Ah, Compton Street. We're not too far from Restaurant Row. When's the last time you ate, anyway?
Please, let's not add eating to the list of things to nag me about.
You could say that the guy in prison was straight out of Compton.
But yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's, she has one of her jobs, I think it's a substantial amount of her income is there's this mobster that's in prison and she visits him like once a week. Like at the two things, and I forget if it's either the people hiring her, like which is like, oh, we just want to make sure our uncle is has company, and they pay her a reasonable amount of money. And so one of the things, because he doesn't, it's either, yeah, it wouldn't make sense for him to give her the weather reports. I think it's or maybe it is. She's either given the weather report to tell him because it's like, oh, he doesn't get out much and he likes to know what's going on. Or it might be he gives her the weather report to give to the family, but basically she's just doing it and she doesn't think much of it, just like, oh, it's weird that I get paid this money, but I'm not going to turn it down. And then the cops realize she's sending coded messages in and out unknowingly, but then it means that they actually go after her. They assume it's real, and she's in deep shit when they realize.
Gotcha.
One of Atwood's re-election posters, sorely lacking a mustache. Go on, Miles. Fix this grievous injustice.
Not now, Bill. There are more important things to worry about.
Spoil sport. Considering how many eating establishments are in this neighborhood, the butcher picked a fantastic spot to set up shop. I do notice a distinct lack of stray cats in this neighborhood, though.
But yeah, there's a YouTube channel, This Aged Great. I think Terra sometimes posts links to it, and I've actually liked their stuff enough that I think I'm signed up for their Patreon subscription.
Oh, wow.
To see some of their extra stuff. But yeah, one of the recent videos was Breakfast at Tiffany's, and it's like, oh shit, because the movie does have some really charming stuff in it, but then it's also got some problematic stuff. And the main problematic one, that's probably the go-to when everyone talks about it, is Mickey Rooney's in it, and he's doing one of the most offensive Japanese person
it's that movie.
impersonations. It's that movie, yeah.
Gotcha. Because
And
I
then,
I remember in it was that Bruce Lee story where
yeah, he stormed out. That's the one he stormed out in. Yeah.
yeah.
And they had a take on it that I never realized because her name. Part of the reason I couldn't remember her name is it's like someone told me it recently and I still can't remember her name, but it's something weird. It's like Penny Farthaway or something like that. It's this very comic name that she has. And then when they're telling the story, he has this epiphany halfway through talking about the plot where he goes, "Wait, they picked her name to be the funniest sounding when someone with a offensively bad Japanese accent says it. Like they've picked her name to be the
Oh,
funniest." It's like
no.
shit, they did too.
Bon Bon's restaurant. I never got a chance to go there, but I hear their deviled eggs are simply to die for.
It's a good knock sound.
I'm sorry, I have no time for visitors today.
You're Albert
That's
Martin's
what said
mother,
it.
aren't you?
Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I spoke with Albert, and he told me to give you a message. He said to tell you that St. Rock's dog is barking.
Oh, I see. That's good. That's very good. You better come in, Mr. Fordham. Standing on the street just won't do.
Always a
Oh,
password to make sure she knows we're okay.
yeah.
Welcome to my home, Mr. Fordham. I am Sabine Martin. I hope you understand that Albert has nothing to do with this awful business. Would you care for some tea?
Well, her tune certainly changed when you gave her that message. I wonder what it meant.
No, thank you, ma'am. I won't be staying long.
The Virgin Mary. I must admit, she was the last person I was expecting to see in here.
This barbecue.
A rather unremarkable book collection, I'm sorry to say. That statue, on the other hand, gives me the willies.
I'll say
Well,
like
we know that rider is some sort of demon. He looks like he's having a good time, at least.
so. I'll say there's something good about Breakfast at Tiffany's. One of the charming bits. So, do you know why it's called Breakfast at Tiffany's?
I have no idea what even the premise is. I always confuse that movie with Fried Green Tomatoes for some reason in my head, and I haven't seen
Okay.
either of them.
Yeah, so there's so she's like her life is a mess, but she's got this facade of like wearing really nice dresses and pearls. Because of her job, she needs to look good and be desirable, but her life's kind of a mess. The dress is the same dress every time. It's like it's an investment basically. And her life's kind of a mess, and she's constantly always stressed and trying to get money and minimizing, yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff. But every morning she gets it's either a bagel or a pretzel, like New York giant pretzel, and a coffee, and she'll walk past Tiffany's and look, and she'll eat and drink while staring at the jewelry in the Tiffany's window. So now Tiffany's has a cafe section because of the Breakfast at Tiffany's, but back then it was just jewelry. They were just jewelry stores. But Breakfast at Tiffany's is basically her looking in while eating, and it speaks a lot about her character because it's like she doesn't have the money to like go in and properly engage in it, but it's like this sweet thing where her day is like chaotic and stressful, but there's this 5 minutes of just looking at pretty things. That's like her just, this is me time, and this is my reset and getting some sort of thing. So it's kind of like this very sweet thing. So that's the Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's her doing something for myself thing without actually paying money.
Okay.
And yeah, it's very neat. The other thing with the movie is, and to show, because everything's just chaotic and she's doing stuff around the house. And at one stage, because she's doing two things at once and she gets them mixed up, she almost puts her cat in the fridge.
Jesus.
Fridge. And she doesn't actually do it. Like she realizes at the last minute and goes, whoops. But I just remember because I was at the theater and I heard someone suck their breath in when she almost did it. And it was shocking to me. Where it's like, no, she's not gonna, and then like, no, she doesn't. But I just remember distinctly, yeah, someone just went, just had to do it.
Wow.
That pattern resembles a flower. Too bad it isn't an Easter lily. Interesting. Those pots look as though they've been wrapped in tobacco leaves. It's some old man with a dog standing at the center of a crossroads. If that's meant to have any sort of significance, it's completely lost on me.
I've got a few questions for you, Mrs. Martin.
I'll try to answer them the best I can.
Do you think your son is capable of doing what he stands accused of?
Never. Albert wouldn't harm a fly.
That's what the mothers always say.
Why don't you tell me a bit more about him then?
He started working at the university laboratory a few years ago. I was so proud of him. The university is quite selective, you know. The same for its staff as well as its students.
Yes, I've gotten that impression.
I always told Albert to be careful around those high society types, but that one always thinks with his heart first.
Is she sure that's the correct body part?
Hello.
He's all the family I have, Mr. Fordham.
Do you know anything about Madame Laura Dupre?
I never met her in person, but I know plenty about her.
Like what?
Nothing fit for a polite conversation, Mr.
Oh, she's a
Fordham.
floozy.
But I can tell you this. Laura Dupre has far more enemies than she lets on.
Does that include you or your son?
It most certainly does not.
What do you know about Juliet, Madame Dupre's daughter?
I know Albert was smitten with her, no matter that I told him to be very careful around her kind. Those rich Creole families don't care much for people like us. To them, we're just a help. But from his telling, Juliet sounded to be a decent soul. It's a shame the same can't be said for her kin.
If you'll indulge my curiosity, what exactly was the meaning of Albert's message?
Saint Roch is the patron saint of dogs, as well as the falsely accused. If he sent the message along with you, it means he trusts you.
There you
Well,
go,
I should
Steve. You got
too.
it.
Oh, I see.
Perhaps you were hoping for something more? That's just the way of mysteries, isn't it?
How do you mean?
The thrill of the unknown is always more exciting than the truth. Mystery makes life a little more interesting.
True, but if mysteries were really better unsolved, I wouldn't have a job. What exactly is it you do, Mrs. Martin?
I provide services to the public.
A delightfully vague answer if there ever was one. Give me something a bit more specific, please.
I'm a Mambo Asugwe. That means I'm what you call a voodoo queen. I'd give you a detailed explanation of the responsibilities and duties of the role, but your time would be better spent clearing my son's name.
Do you remember, Steve, the t-shirt, the Mambo Poo Shooter t-shirt?
I think I had that when I was a kid.
Oh, God, okay.
I'm not a kid, like teenager.
Can you tell me a bit
Was
more
that-
about
I think
your
I did-
religious practices?
What I can tell you is that the
Was it
ignorant
Mambo or
whites
one
in
of
this
the
city
other
are afraid of
edgy
us for no
t-shirt
reason.
manufacturers,
Voodoo is
but
not about black magic or dark spells or turning people into the living dead. It's about healing and life. Naturally, there are misguided souls who may try to use it for ill purposes, but I am not one of those.
Sounds like you hit a sore spot. Might be a good idea to stop pressing her on this angle.
the one where it's like it's this cartoon cat and chicken, and they're beefed up, like really muscly, and they're about to fight. And I had the speech bubbles of them calling each other pussy and chicken.
Okay.
That I used to wear a fair bit. I used to think that was the cleverest thing.
I think I'll take you up on your offer for tea, after all.
All right, Mr. Fordham. You'll have to give me a few minutes to heat up the kettle. I'll be back shortly.
Oh, is this where we can snoop? I think it is. Alright, let's snoop.
Amazing. Even more voodoo stuff back there. Why would she keep these particular items hidden from view?
Good question.
They obviously have some importance to her. I'd suggest asking, but I don't know if that's the best idea given how sensitive she seems to be about the subject.
Okay.
The tea should be ready in a few minutes, Mr. Fordham. You can help yourself once it's done.
You're very kind, Mrs. Martin.
Alright, Mrs. Martin, you got some
I've got a
explaining
few
to do.
questions for you, Mrs. Martin.
I'll try to answer them the best I can.
About that back room of yours.
I beg your pardon?
I don't know about this, Miles. Is this really a road you want to go down?
Ooh, what do you want to do, guys? Do you want to press her or drop the subject? First person to respond will do. Press.
I had a look behind your curtain. Care to explain what all those things in that back room are?
Mr. Fordham, I was under the impression you could be trusted. Clearly, Albert was wrong about you.
Why are you keeping them out of view? What's their significance?
I don't like people invading my privacy, Mr. Fordham. You're no longer welcome in my home.
What about my
Please
tea?
leave.
But without me, your son won't get out of jail. Nobody else thinks he's innocent. Are you really gonna put your pride over your son's life?
And now you insult me? You're really something special. I won't say it again. Get out!
Huh?
Oh, fucked up.
Clearly hit a nerve there.
Oh, good.
Fordham.
Rather suspicious, if you ask me. Perhaps her and Mr. Martin's religious practices aren't as innocent as they claim to be.
An interesting notion.
All right. Achievement. Get kicked out of Sabine's house. Okay, cool. All right. Let's go tell Martin that we got kicked out of his mum's house.
Nothing else to ask him right now.
Okay.
He hasn't got much time left. Best not to waste it.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's see. Let's go to the university. Ooh, this is cool.
Huh. It's as though we've journeyed to the tropics. I don't know how you can stand to keep that coat on in here. Those flowers are definitely not native to this area. They seem to be thriving in their glass tubes, though.
I like the idea that his partner's personality is in us and we talk or whatever, but he's also the narrator in a sense. And when we click on items, he's the one that gives the descriptions.
Quite the assortment of plants they keep in here. I wonder if they serve any purpose or are just meant to look pretty. Judging from that pipe, that contraption must be used to keep the plants hydrated. But it looks like a giant earwax remover to me.
Hmm.
I've never seen a flower grow that big. What do you suppose they're feeding them?
Have you ever had your earwax removed by either a doctor or... Like, you see those videos of the guys on the streets of India where it almost looks like they got lockpicks in a person's ear canal and they whip out, like, chunks of wax the size of a mouse?
No, I've had the doctor, like, check earwax build-up before. Just thinking, like, what if my hearing which isn't the best? It's not necessarily hearing, but it's just sometimes I struggle with passing words, which I didn't have as a kid. But yeah, so I've wondered if there's a slow wax build-up, and he checked and was nothing. The thing I've had is when I was a kid, I had an ear infection and I had to go in like every couple of days to have the doctor, but it was vacuuming out pus basically. So it wasn't like that video you showed where they're trying to scrape, they've got the thing and they're trying to scrape that blockage out. But it was just there was too much pus build up and the guy just had a really painful sucking tube that sucked away the pus.
Yeah.
I used to hate it. It was so painful.
You've done it with water tongs? Okay. I've always heard that, I've never done it, but if you put a couple of drops of olive oil in your ear canal, it actually breaks down the wax as well.
Pardon the disturbance, but are you Juliet Montgomery?
I am.
Oh.
And you are?
Who's
Miles
here?
Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into the events surrounding your mother's attempted murder.
Ah, of course.
Have you got time to answer some questions?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
When I first saw her portrait, I thought this was her tongue. And that this is her bottom lip.
Yeah, it does look weird now they've pointed it out.
Do you know anything about the events leading up to your mother's premature internment?
It's like the lip part of
No.
her
It
thing
was
is
a
like
complete
retracted
shock.
from the
Mother seemed to
rest
be
of the lip.
perfectly healthy and full
Yeah,
of life.
like she's hiding a
Then,
gum.
without
The coloured
warning,
bit, yeah.
She was dead. Or so we thought.
I take it you were glad to be wrong?
What a ridiculous question. Of course I was. What sort of heartless beast would celebrate their mother's death?
Oh, I could name a few. Juliet definitely didn't shed any tears over Madame Dupre, though.
Yeah.
That much is obvious.
True.
Miss Montgomery, you don't have to lie to me. I'm not going to assume you tried killing your mother just because you weren't upset by her death.
I felt terrible about it. You have to understand, I didn't want her to be dead. I just felt a sense of relief. Please, don't think me a horrible person, Mr. Fordham. It's just that Mother and I aren't currently on the best of terms.
Why don't you and your mother get along?
We've never completely seen eye to eye on anything. She always disapproved of anything I did. When I was younger, she used to forbid me from speaking to the servants. I saw no harm in a kind word or smile, but she warned us that if we were too familiar, they would take liberties. Then when I declared my intentions to pursue academic studies, she really went livid. In her opinion, a university education was tantamount to a chastity belt. What sort of man would want a wife with a head full of useless facts, she'd say.
Personally, I've always found intelligence to be quite attractive.
I assume your mother didn't approve of your involvement with Mr. Martin?
A rather forward question, Mr. Fordham. But you're not mistaken. I'm not sure how she managed to find out about Albert and me, but when she did, she nearly had a conniption. As I'm sure you can understand, the situation at home has been less than perfect in the last few months. I'd really rather not dwell on it.
You mentioned you were friends with the servants.
Yes, that's right. I didn't care that they worked for us. Everyone needs a friend.
Did your mother ever mistreat them?
Mistreat? No, I wouldn't say so. She was always very stern, though, and quite cold. If they ever shirked their duties or misbehaved, they were punished, of course, but nothing out of the ordinary that I ever saw. Most of the servants are my friends, but I'm closest with Amelie, the kitchen maid. Mother wasn't too happy about that. Amelie's been around as long as I can remember. She's like the aunt I never had.
What can you tell me about Albert Martin?
I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Why not start by telling me what your relationship with him was?
We met here at the greenhouse. He was working as an assistant, sweeping and cleaning and fetching things for the students. My focus was on academics, naturally. I wasn't too interested in romance. In fact, I've had to turn away nearly every single one of my classmates. But with Albert, I found myself intrigued. I noticed him stealing glances, lingering just a bit too long after bringing over a book or flask, sweeping the same patch of floor near me over and over again. It wasn't too long before I had him bringing me tools and equipment, regularly.
I see.
As I mentioned, Mother was an absolute terror when she found out.
Do you believe Mr. Martin did what he stands accused of?
I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't seem like him, but Albert can be quite passionate. If the police believe he's to blame, then they must have a reason for it. It wasn't any secret that he hated Mother. Perhaps I should have ended things sooner. It was satisfying to know that Mother was displeased, but I never imagined it would lead to something like this.
Well,
Wow.
it's nice to see she's all heart.
So really, she was using him just to stick it to her mother, I guess.
So, you study botany. Fascinating subject.
Are you an admirer of plants, Mr. Fordham?
My wife has the green thumb in the household, but I do have a certain appreciation for them.
Plants are amazing things, just like people in many ways.
How do you mean?
They need attention and care. Ignore a plant, and it will wither. Give it too much attention, and it will become sick. Plants have many things to teach us, and I greatly enjoy learning from them.
Yes. I feel that in the midweek point and click series, we have killed a number of plants by feeding it things it shouldn't have. I remember coffee was one of them. I think it's said in the Life is Strange that I killed a plant with soda, but I don't remember doing that. But
These plants are impressive. Are they yours?
Yes, I've developed a method to make them extra healthy and strong.
They're larger than anything I've ever seen. How do you do it?
But I can't reveal my secrets, Mr. Fordham. The world will hear about my discoveries soon enough.
Incidentally, do you know anything about Easter lilies?
No, I don't keep or grow those here.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
no more questions, hey? It does sound like something I would have done, Tongs. Okay, let's go back to the jail.
Could I ask you some more questions, Mr. Martin?
It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Albert, did you hate Madame Dupre?
The woman is cruel, sadistic, and bigoted. When she found out about my relationship with Juliet, she sent me a letter threatening to have me killed if I got near her house or her daughter.
Wow.
So yes, Mr. Fordham, I hated her, but even so, I love her daughter. I wouldn't be so cruel as to take Juliet's mother away from her, even if she hated her too.
I beg your pardon?
Juliet and her mother didn't get along at all. I never asked why, but it was obvious there was something going on.
Intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all for now.
Alright, let's look at those. Casebook, what do we have here? Did Martin really do what he's being accused of? Did cause Madame Laura Dupre to be Turtle alive. Question the residents. Discover the source of the rift. No clues. Suspects. Okay. You got some explaining to do, daughter.
She's busy. Best not to bother her until we have something to ask her.
Maybe not then. Okay.
I'm here.
It's good to have you back. So what's this big case Upton's got you on? Another missing pet?
If only. A Gascon Grand Dame was attacked and almost interred alive.
You mean Madame Dupre? The one whose obituary was in the paper?
The very same.
Goodness, that does sound serious. Tell me if there's anything I can do to help. I know you haven't been feeling your best lately.
You're always a help to me, Addie. Though I assure you I have this well in hand.
I certainly hope so.
Addie?
Yes, dear?
How's work going? You have any appointments today?
Yes, one this evening. It's been a bit slow lately, but pretty soon it'll be debutante ball season, and all the Gascon Grand Dames will need their hair done. You sure I can't convince you to let me give you a little trim? You've been looking awfully scruffy lately.
What's the point? I've got no need to go peacocking around town. You're the only girl for me.
I like it when you're clean cut. It brings out your eyes.
The way my eyes have been looking lately, I think it's best to keep them hidden.
All right, Tongs. What do you rate the art of difficulty? Because last time you said something that was beyond scope was like a 0 out of 10.
How are you? It feels as though we haven't seen much of each other these past few days.
I've been fine.
Addie, you're not a very good liar. What's on your mind?
I'm worried about you, Miles.
I know, but I've told you, there's no need to worry about me. I'm all right.
You're not all right, Miles.
Yeah.
I may not be a good liar, but you can't fool me either.
I am all right. What do I have to do to convince you of that?
You could start by throwing out that sleeping medicine. It's turned you into a different person.
I needed to sleep.
It does
Addie.
look like
I'll become an even worse person without it, believe me.
I know Bill's death
this is an
was hard
upraised
for you.
version of a 90s
It was
game.
hard for all of us. But whatever it is that's bothering you, you know you can talk to me about it. That's what I'm here for.
I know, my love. Your support means the world to me. I need some time to deal with things. That's all. It won't always be like this, I promise.
Making promises you can't keep, eh, Miles? That'll end well.
Oof.
Do you know anything about Madame Dupre?
I've read that the Dupreys are one of the few wealthy families that exclusively employ real people to serve. Rather commendable, don't you think?
Yes. It makes it even more baffling why she was attacked. Have you heard any gossip from your clients? Anything about who might have wanted to harm her?
Nothing. She's held in the highest regard by the other Grand Dames. If she had actually died, I'd have expected them to petition her canonization.
Canonization. I wonder what that is.
It's making someone a saint.
Oh, okay.
I've still got that song you sang last week at the Rutherford stuck in my head. You were amazing.
Thank you, Miles. That was a lovely evening. I always enjoy it when Joseph brings out his violin and we can relive the old days.
Certainly nicer than when he spends hours telling the exact same story whenever you visit.
They were very glad to see you, you know.
It's probably the most fun I've had in months, to be honest.
They've invited us for dinner again in a couple of weeks, if you're feeling up to it.
I hope I am. What's that you're reading?
It's a collection of short stories by James Penstroke. It was just published earlier this month.
Any good?
Oh yes, I love his work. He's been publishing a new serial in Brentwell magazine. I can't wait to read it. Perhaps we both can together? I think you'd enjoy him.
Lately, I haven't been able to concentrate on a page for more than 5 minutes without nodding off.
That is a pity.
I'll let you get back to your book.
Wouldn't you say it's time for a change of clothes, Miles? You've been wearing that coat for who knows how long.
So? Addie gave it to me. Besides, it gives me character.
Right. Brooding detective in a long black coat. That's never been seen before.
What are you talking about, Bill?
Never mind.
This is like Han Solo in the sequel movies. It's like 40 years later and he's wearing the same shit.
That's true. Suppose we can go back to the coffee shop now, actually. Oh, hang on. I don't think we went here. No, we didn't.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
I said good day, sir.
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around. Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please, be my guest.
Be my guest, be my guest.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
She is a great woman and a pillar of the community. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her, or how someone could be capable of such a barbaric feat. Though this ordeal has been terrible, I am confident she will overcome. The power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her strength of character.
You think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt it.
What were the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Dupre had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Dupre wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look.
Okay, cool.
How long have you been Madame Dupre's private physician?
5 years, and I've been practicing medicine for the past 30. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview Asylum.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky, he could be your doctor someday.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly heal broken bones, among other things.
What?
If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
Did you see, Steve, that Revenge of the Sith came out 20 years ago? Is that what it's called? Is that the movie?
Revenge of the Sith, the prequel movie?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's only 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Did you examine Madame Dupre after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health, aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however. She's remained in an unresponsive state ever since.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Dupre to appear dead?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
What if it is voodoo? What if these are like she's a zombie, like in the traditional sense, not in the like the modern zombie sense? That she literally
been brought back.
Yeah.
What leads you to believe Madame Dupre was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of black magic cult? There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear dead, then commanding them to do their bidding.
Yeah.
I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried.
Oh.
He appeared alive in his village some 20 years later.
Doesn't that seem a bit far-fetched to you, Doctor?
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham. Surely someone in your line of work can appreciate that.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Her eyes are glazed over and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person. This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. With her vast sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them. Not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes. Well, I'll have a look around, and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him.
You're like, I see you've got a big head, but I'm just looking for a little head.
Filth bag, Steve. Hey, Big Head Club unite. My extra large cap, love it. Do you have a big head, Steve? Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think of it. Well, now I do because I've gained a bit of weight, but even back in the day, I wouldn't have thought so usually. But I think at one stage I was trying on caps and most of them didn't fit.
Yeah.
What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupre's a cool copper.
Who's a pretty birdie?
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Ray.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
It's just Iago.
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
So long, birdie.
Bye-bye.
Dupre looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
Oh, he looks like a twat too.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, lounging about,
A little
darling.
of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
I'm reminded of a famous quote, Mr. Fordham. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Let us part on good terms and avoid the subject altogether, please.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is it bad, do you think?
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery. Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Okay. Oh, we can go upstairs and stuff too. Let's check the kitchen first. Oh, bread.
Certainly no shortage of bowls or food preparation items around here. Some kind of water dispensing device, maybe? I was never very good at finding my way around the kitchen. Hey, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe.
You ever had gumbo, Steve?
Not that I can recall. I think I might have tried it when I was going across America, but I don't remember it if I did.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I cooked it.
Okay.
It's time consuming to cook. It's interesting though. It's has capsicum in it though, so I'm not sure how much you'd love it.
Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight.
Well, that particular
Wonder how
recipe
it
probably
compares
did,
with
but gumbo
Upton's
altogether
special
probably
recipe.
Well,
doesn't require it.
it uses this thing called I think they call it the Holy Trinity or something, which is onions, capsicum, and what was the other thing? Onions, capsicum, and something else. Celery, I think. I think that's right. Which is kind of like the base, and you mix it with a browned roux, and other things go into it. Yeah, exactly, celery. So, if anything, it means that Steve and Saiku couldn't eat this.
Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight.
That's like a fucking Holy Trinity. That sounds pretty shitty altogether.
It's times like these.
Like even the stuff I'm okay with eating, it's like it doesn't exactly blow my socks off.
Pardon me, miss.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Madame Dupre.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm very busy. I can't help you.
Amelie, please.
Amelie, please. I need to know what you know about Madame Dupre.
What? How did you know my name?
I'm a detective. It's what I do.
Is that right? Well, I don't like people spying on me. I'm sorry, but I don't talk to people I can't trust.
Well, so much for that.
But yeah, like
Pardon
I'm
me, miss.
technically okay with
Go
capsicum
away.
if it's
I have nothing to say to you.
mixed in properly, like grounds, like you said, and the taste isn't overpowering anything else. It blends properly and isn't fighting with anything else, then I'm okay with it.
Washing the dishes must take forever.
It's kind of like you know when you make a bolognese that you use onions, carrots, and what's the other thing? Onions, carrots, and I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But yeah,
That's the base for me.
you fry them down until you sort of saute them down until they're soft. It's the same kind of principle.
Yeah.
Yeah, garlic's always a given.
I've used celery. I think I stopped at one point, but one stage I was using celery for a bolognese base as well.
Yeah, maybe it was celery.
That also cooks down to like less so than the carrot, but yeah, it cooks down to like the insubstantial.
Yeah.
A horrible little porcelain figurine. Madame Dupre didn't strike me as the type to play with dolls. Nice bouquet of roses. Although it would make things much easier if they were Easter lilies.
If only.
That's the second reference to Easter lilies.
I think it's because those are the things that were stolen from the flower shop, but
right.
Someone's not the flower thief just because they have the same species of flower.
Someone went overboard with the flowers. This brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Ones I'd rather forget.
Oh.
These should be useful.
Sweet. Got some tweez.
It looks as though this folded piece of paper is being used as a bookmark. I hope
Imagine if
remembering
the
what
cop
page
was like
they
at
were
your
on
place.
wasn't too important.
Looks like it's a letter for Andrew.
And you have like a box of like Cocoa Pops out, and the cop goes, "Hey, you know there was some thief stealing Cocoa Pops from a supermarket, and I see you got Cocoa Pops there. Do you mind fucking explaining that?"
Andrew, enclosed is the agreed upon fee. I wouldn't be able to concentrate on exams without this help. Dr. Tennyson charges an obscene amount. Thank goodness for people like you with home pharmacies. Home pharmacy. I'll look for them in the usual spot under the Weeping Angel, Joshua. Sorry to hear about your mother. I'll wait a few days before passing by.
Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills.
Hello.
These would make a sloth act like a hummingbird. A gentle reminder that everyone's time is slowly running out.
Are we going to have to do some sort of alchemy puzzle?
What in the ether is that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
supposed to be? Actually, I'd
Boil
rather
it for
not
like
know.
3 chains of the hourglass.
Oh, bloody leeches.
Is this really the best
Grind up
medical
some
science has to
belladonna.
offer?
The pestle and mortar.
Decadent.
Did you just say pestle and mortar
Yeah, I did.
instead of the correct way?
I usually say correct way, but just for you.
Oh, okay.
Put it the other way. Well, it's not correct. It's just the order we used to.
Yeah, but that's the kind of like saying socks and shoes. No one says socks and shoes. It's always shoes and socks, right?
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with socks and shoes. Also makes a bit more sense because that's the order you put them on.
Yeah, true. Do you put pants on Steve before socks or after socks?
Yeah, before.
Pants on before socks?
No, socks before pants.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought we were going to have a situation for a second.
Also, I'm not flexible. As a kid, it was arbitrary, but I think I still put like socks on just because it's technically underwear. That said, with I've had flexibility issues now, so I have to put socks on first because with pants on, it's a little bit too restrictive.
Decadent. I can only wonder what sort of potions Andrew concocts in this thing. The science of pharmacology. Yeah, I'm sure it's riveting stuff. Yeah, it must be a nice place to sit and listen to music. Why would anyone need so many flowers in one room?
Perhaps it's to mask the odors of those chemicals on the workstation.
Oh, yeah.
Could be. Oh, look. It's one of those new audio cylindergraphs. I can't quite wrap my head around how they can manage to get sound out of a wax cylinder.
Oh. G. Oh, it's a harpsichord?
It's not too good. So that's the one that. So that's one of the things that the guy in Bendigo builds.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I watched an episode of Hard Quiz either last night or the night before. Maybe one of the best episodes so far.
Oh,
Just
really?
character-wise, one of the contestants was just off the hook good. Alright, so there's going to be a music puzzle later on. We just need to know. There we go, back. There we go.
I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Dupre and I at least have similar tastes.
What, naked men? Okay.
I watched just before this stream. I watched the latest Kodo Crew visual effects reacts, and there's a guy that I don't particularly like anyway, but he said something that made me kind of annoyed. Or he had a. Basically, they said they remember that movie that we watched called Wolves?
Wolves?
Yeah. Like where they're cleaning guys, or.
Oh yeah, that was good. I like that movie.
Yes, apparently one of the shots was out in the area around the Kodo Crew studio, so they paid the various businesses not to park their cars in the street so they could be empty.
Yep.
So they pay the money just for both the inconvenience and because people then need to take Ubers instead. But the guy, Sam, I think it is, was that legitimately annoyed at that. Like, and he introduced the movie going, "Oh, there's two washed-up actors," and that's unfair. They're pretty top of their game at the time. But then he goes, "Oh, they did this thing where we could park, and it's like our fucking territory," and da da da, and just took this really weird position.
Yeah.
On what is like a decent movie, but and part of it is like they didn't end up using any shots. You couldn't actually see the street that they blocked off in the movie.
Yeah.
But the scene they showed was like basically we can recognize this as the intersection, but they don't look down our street. And you see, that's an issue of like, oh, they didn't even use it. Like, why would they do that? And Ren's the like voice of reason. We goes, look, they didn't know they probably needed profile shots, so that's why they did our street. And then in editing, the shots just didn't make it into the final edit. It's just they didn't need them, or as told, but they still had to do it, so they had options. They couldn't tell it. It's like, oh, it's actually probably exactly what it is. And he goes, it's not necessarily a waste because you need the shots, whether or not they're used or not.
Yeah, considering Sam's one of the bosses, you'd think that he would know this shit. Maybe he
Yeah,
just wanted
it's also like you guys are. I know they don't make A+ movies. They dabbled a bit at one stage, but But it's like you should know the industry much better than that.
Maybe he just wanted to complain.
Yeah, I
This
think
is always
so.
my favorite
But that's the
part
thing,
of
you have this
detective
weird
work.
bugbear, like he's slagging off the actors in the
Nothing inside
movie
but a bunch of
and the
extra
movie
doilies.
itself based
Ugh,
off
how
them
disappointing.
just needing to
Maybe
lock
you
down
should steal one,
the
just
street.
to spite
Like
Madame
that's
Dupre for not giving us any good clues.
very weird.
No, Bill.
You're no fun, Miles.
There's nothing useful to the investigation in there.
We got to find the. Where's the? Maybe not.
As amusing as it is to chat with this oddball, I think we've exhausted his usefulness at the moment.
All right, we'll go speak to the doctor.
With her vast sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed.
Accidentally clicked the hedge.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
May I ask exactly what kind of sedative you gave Andrew?
A simple tincture of laudanum. It's what I give all my nervous patients.
He seems a bit out of sorts.
Hot? Meat kettle.
It can have that effect, but it usually wears off in half a day or so.
Is there a way to bring him out of his condition sooner?
A stimulant would have the opposite effect, but I
Oh.
wouldn't recommend mixing the two.
Oh.
It could have potentially harmful effects on his heart.
Yeah, we don't
Oh,
care.
of course. I wasn't planning on doing anything of the sort. I was just curious.
It's cute how you act like you have no experience in these matters. It's almost convincing.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Oh, we haven't gone there yet. Find and get him out of the stupor. Let's go to the stimulant section. Oh, we didn't try going in these rooms, did we? Or did we? Cocaine juice. Ah, yeah, cool. Chaise
Ooh,
lounge.
fainting couch. You know, I always wanted one of these, but I never fainted enough to justify buying one. A much younger Madame Dupre. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror.
Oh, there's a music scale. Oh, what's this?
One of those melodramatic romances. I read it a while back, and I couldn't tell you a thing about it. Now that one sounds interesting. I was always a fan of Bedletter's short stories. Doesn't appear to be very brief if there's 2 volumes of it. Wonder if anyone outside the family would find this even remotely interesting. Doesn't appear to be choice and consequence. Who in their right mind would write a book about that? I don't even want to know what that one's about. I read that one last year. If you ever wanted to know the intimate details of a buffalo's anatomy, I highly recommend it.
Hello. Looks like there's a book missing. Is that the puzzle that we're looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if there's anything in these drawers. Damn, nothing but personal
That's what
effects
she
and more
said.
stationery.
Don't forget the first rule of detective work. If there's nothing useful inside, check underneath and between.
Ah, yes, of course. Thanks for the reminder.
Uh-huh, now this is intriguing.
Oh. I'm not going to warn you again, you disgusting mulatto thug. Stay away from my daughter and my house, or I'll kill ye!
Well, I can't deny that the evidence against Mr. Martin is somewhat damning. If his mother was so sure of his innocence, she'd surely have explained what all those things behind the curtain were. I don't think Upton will appreciate being proven wrong. But like Fellows said, facts are facts. Nothing else of interest in there.
It would appear that Madame Dupre was taking music lessons.
Her current predicament has probably put an end to that venture, though.
I mean, it's a scale, sure.
But does it mean that you basically type the scale into the piano, even though it's like not a complicated melody?
Maybe.
Oh, it could be conversion to just reminding you what like do re mi actually converts to with the modern note names.
We could quickly go from C up and see what happens, if anything.
Have you ever watched Sound of Music, or do you remember have you memorized that song, Do Re Mi?
I know of it. I've seen it once before. Are we going low C? Oh, there's sharps though. I don't think we're doing sharps from memory.
Yeah, I think it was just...
Let's try middle C. Nah, we don't know what we're doing, so it's fine. Okay, there's the other bedroom as well.
I've never seen so many beauty products together in one place. Doesn't look like they get used much, though. I've never seen so many beauty products.
Okay. Gorilla chest?
Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
Oh, can we pick the lock with... Oh no, we don't actually have an inventory. Thought we could use the tweezers.
They're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing. Nice little cottage. Looks like it would make a nice cozy spot to retire. If I hadn't already retired from life, that is. Well, someone's fancy. I never liked these types of beds much. They feel too claustrophobic.
I always thought they had a certain appeal myself.
Yes, you would think that about a bed that lets you shut out the rest of the world.
You ever slept in a four-poster?
I don't think I have.
I think I have when traveling. Yeah. I think four-poster bed reminds me of Dracula.
The
Oh, yeah,
bottle is
see that.
empty.
Reminds me of Apocalypse Now redo.
I can only wonder what sort of potions Andrew concocts in this thing.
There's a really erotic scene around a
ether is that
four-poster
thing
bed.
supposed to be?
Name it, and also with mosquito netting, like, because that's part of that four-poster bed. It had those curtains that go around the edges.
Yep.
Do with that.
I haven't seen... The last time I saw Apocalypse Now was at your mum's place as a kid. And the cow scene with the machete was enough to make me not want to watch it again.
Yeah, it's gnarly. Although, to be fair, no one... If you didn't know that was a real cow, you wouldn't think much of it.
Yeah.
But when you know, it's like, yeah. But also the scene I talked about wasn't in the theatrical version, so... They wouldn't have even had that.
Turn to Upton and accuse Martin. Right. I reckon what we might do is call it there. We've done a fair bit. Let's call it... Accuse Marty! All right, well...
Also,
yeah.
I'm disappointed they didn't have the last name of the character Prower. Mr. Prower.
Miles per hour.
Yeah.
The young Tails. Oh, speaking of, did you played some of those Sonic Sega Transform racing games, right? The kart games?
Oh yeah, with you, yeah. The Mario Kart.
Yeah. I always thought they were better than Mario Kart, to be honest. But yeah, the new one's coming out. I wonder if it's any good. Hopefully there's like a beta or something.
Oh, because I used to like going that actual real racer, the...
Danica, someone?
Danica.
Danica
yeah.
Patrick, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I should have the quote, like, something about burning rubber, and I remember being able to turn that into a dirty reference.
Oh, Jesus. Alrighty, yes. So, thank you everyone for joining. Pleasure as always. This game's cool. It's not what I thought it would be. Like, investigating the murder, I didn't realize it would be your friend that you shot that you were the murderer, in a sense, an accidental murder, a manslaughterer, maybe. But finding the flower guy, that's, yeah, exciting stuff. All right, let's see if there is anyone on that we can send you guys across to. I think there is. Let's raid into Anxious Birdie. She is playing Just Chatting. I think Just Chatting came out this year, from memory.
I've already beaten it.
Yeah, you have? Sweet. All right. Well, as always, it is the weekend, so make sure you have something delicious. Maybe a bowl of ice cream of your favorite flavor. How about that? What's your favorite flavor, Steve? While we've got a little bit of time before the raid.
It's a particular brand, but the Connoisseur Cookies and Cream. Maybe less so now. I think I had a little bit too much of it.
Yep.
But for ages, that was my favorite.
Right. Gotcha.
What about you?
Licorice ice cream has always been my favorite.
Okay.
Love it. Especially when it's got chunks of licorice in it.
Yeah,
All
now
right.
it might be like chocolate, but not the standard chocolate. It's like one where they've got a bit of fudge in it. They're like slightly better quality. Not like the standard ice cream shop chocolate. The one of the like gourmet type ones. Those are really nice.
Gotcha. What's your favorite nugget sauce? Is that a reference to something, Psycho? I'm not too sure what it is. Honey mustard. Yeah, the mustard sauce was always my favorite nug sauce anyway, even if it might be a reference. Anyway, let us cruise into the weekend. Have a fantastic one, everyone, and we'll see you next time.